Chamber of the Galaxy Council, was built to make visitors feel small. Its ceiling curved so high it faded into blue light, and its floor spread wide like a silent ocean. Rows of floating platforms held delegates from hundreds of worlds. Some glowed. Some breathed mist. Some were machines that hummed softly. At the center, on a raised throne of crystal and metal, sat King Arelon, ruler of the council and voice of the old powers. Humanity's platform rested far from the center, close to the outer ring. It was a polite distance, the kind that pretended to be fair while clearly showing rank. The human delegates stood in dark uniforms, their faces calm, their backs straight. Among them was General Hannah Lee. Hannah Lee did not look impressive to the council. She was human-sized, which meant small by most standards. She wore no jewels, no glowing marks of status. Her hair was tied back simply. Her face showed no anger, no fear, only attention. The session had already lasted for hours. Disputes over trade routes, border claims, and resource rights echoed through the chamber. Humanity listened more than it spoke. That was nothing new. Humans were still considered young. Useful, yes, but young. At last, King Arelon raised one long hand. The chamber fell silent. "Before we conclude," the king said, his voice smooth and loud without effort, "there is the matter of the human expansion zones." Many eyes turned toward the outer ring. "The council has tolerated this growth," he continued, "because humans are adaptable workers and efficient soldiers. They fill gaps where older species no longer wish to serve." A few delegates shifted. Some smiled. However, the king said, leaning back, "Let us not confuse usefulness with importance. Humanity is a brief spark. No deep culture. No ancient wisdom. No right to speak as equals in matters of galactic direction." The words hung in the air. A soft ripple moved through the chamber. Some delegates laughed quietly. Others watched the humans with interest, like observers at an experiment. Hannah Lee did not move. King Arelon went on. "Their history is filled with internal wars, self-made disasters, and constant correction by others. They survive not through greatness, but through chance and imitation." One of the human diplomats clenched his jaw. Another lowered her eyes. But Hannah Lee remained still. "For this reason," the king said, "human requests for greater council influence are denied. Permanently. You may serve. You may obey. You may not lead." Silence followed. The king lifted a finger, dismissing the matter as finished. Hannah Lee slowly raised her eyes. She did not speak. She did not need to. Her wrist display recorded every word, every tone, every reaction. Around her, human systems did the same, sending the data across space, across human worlds. The broadcast delay ended. On Earth, in orbit, in colonies carved into rock and ice, humans watched the replay. Some heard it in their homes, others in ships, factories, or quiet command rooms. The reaction was not immediate shouting. It was something colder. On Earth, rain fell on the capital city as people gathered around screens. No one spoke for several seconds after the king's words ended. He said it, a young man finally said, out loud. In a military complex beneath the surface, Admiral Taekwon watched the recording again. He paused it at the king's final sentence. "Denied. Permanently," he repeated. Beside him, Intelligence Director Yuna Choi folded her arms. "That was not anger," she said. "That was policy." Yes, Taekwon replied. In a warning, back at the council chamber, the session moved on. Trade figures appeared in the air. A dispute between two ancient empires took center focus. Humanity faded from attention, but Hannah Lee felt every eye that still lingered on her. A tall delegate from a silicon-based world leaned toward another and spoke openly. "They will learn their place," Hannah heard it. She wrote it down. When the session ended, human delegates were the last to leave. No one rushed to greet them. No alliances were offered. That, too, was noted. As they walked the long exit path, Captain Wu Park spoke quietly. "Permission to respond publicly, General?" Hannah shook her head once. "No," she said. "Not yet, sir," Wu said, correcting himself quickly. Ma'am. With respect, silence may look like weakness. Hannah stopped walking. Others stopped with her. She turned to face them. Silence is not weakness, she said calmly. It is time. They waited. Time to listen, she continued. Time to prepare. Today was not an insult alone. It was a line. A line for what? Wu asked. For the future, Hannah said. They told us exactly where they intend to keep us. Back on Earth, protests began to form. Not riots. Organized gatherings. People stood with signs that did not scream, but stated, "We are not tools. We are not children. We remember." Media networks debated the king's words. Some experts urged calm. Others warned that the council had never spoken so clearly before. In a quiet office overlooking the ocean, the president of Earth replayed the speech in silence. When it ended, he looked at Hannah Lee's still image on the screen. She didn't blink, he said. No, Unichoi replied over secure channel. She heard everything. That night, Hannah returned to her quarters aboard the human flagship. The room was small and plain. A bed, a table. A viewport showing distant stars. She removed her uniform jacket and sat for a long time. She did nothing. Then she opened a private channel. Begin phase quiet, she said. There was no dramatic music. No alarms, just a soft confirmation tone. Across human space, small changes began. Ship routes adjusted. Maintenance schedules shifted. Research budgets moved quietly from public view to classified lines. Civilian factories received new designs labeled as upgrades. On mining worlds, new drills were tested. Stronger, faster. On training stations, commanders changed lesson plans. Old rules were questioned. New simulations appeared. No announcement was made. At the council, King Arelon dined with close allies. He spoke lightly of the session. They will complain, he said. They always do. One advisor asked. And if they resist? The king smiled. Humans resist everything, he said. That is why they fail. Far away, Hannah Lee stood before the viewport. Stars drifted slowly past. She did not feel rage. She felt clarity. They think they understand us, she said softly, to no one. They don't. Her wrist display blinked with incoming. Reports, readiness, compliance, silence. The galaxy believed humanity had accepted its place. That belief would cost it. Everything the days after the council session were quiet on the surface. Ships followed their normal paths. Trade moved as usual. Council news channels spoke about minor border issues and ignored humanity almost completely. To most of the galaxy, the matter seemed finished. Inside human space, it was not finished. General Hannah Lee stood in a wide underground command room on Earth. The walls were plain gray, lined with screens that showed maps, numbers, and slow-moving icons. There were no flags, no symbols of pride. Only function. Around the table stood people she trusted. Admiral Taekwon leaned forward, his hands resting on the edge of the display. Captain Wu Park stood straight, eyes sharp. Intelligence Director Yuna Choi tapped quietly at her pad, scrolling through reports. Engineer Min Seo Han appeared on a screen from an orbital station, her hair messy. Her eyes bright with focus. Hannah looked at them one by one. We are not responding publicly, Hannah said. Not yet, Wu Park nodded, though his jaw was tight. Civilians are angry, he said. They want words. They want answers. We'll get results, Hannah replied. Later, Yuna Choi lifted her head. The insult changed many things, she said. Council surveillance on us has increased. Not openly. Quiet scans. Economic pressure through third parties. Taekwon gave a short laugh. They are testing how much weight we can carry before we break. And we will carry more, Hannah said. She touched the table and the display shifted. Human space appeared, dotted with worlds, stations, and routes. We assume, Hannah continued, that the council believes we will protest, then comply. That we will push for small changes and accept delays. They think we are predictable, Min Seo-han said from the screen. They think we are emotional, Upark, so we will not act like they expect. She turned to Yuna. Phase quiet status. Active, Yuna replied. No leaks. No public signs. All changes are within acceptable variance. Good, Hannah straightened. We are not preparing for revenge. We are preparing for survival with dignity. No one spoke against that. Across human worlds, orders moved through secure channels. They were written in simple language. No dramatic words. No mention of war. Increase redundancy. Decentralize command. Train. Decision-making at lowest levels. Protect civilian movement. On a shipyard near Mars, workers received new designs for cargo vessels. They looked normal. Larger engines. Reinforced hulls. Improved power systems. A supervisor frowned. This seems excessive, he said. An engineer replied calmly. It is for safety. On a training station orbiting a gas giant, Commander Dalim watched crews run simulations. The rules had changed. Command signals were delayed or cut. Leaders were removed mid-exercise. Again, Dalim said. This time, assume you're alone. But sir, a young officer said, that breaks doctrine. Dalim met his eyes. Then doctrine will break, he said, on a research world far from Earth. Min Seo-han walked through a lab filled with metal plates and test chambers. She placed a hand on a dull gray surface. This armor does not block, she explained to her team. It learns. A technician looked uncertain. That takes time. So does survival, Min Seo replied. In public, human leaders spoke softly. They expressed disappointment, not anger. They reaffirmed commitment to the council. The galaxy relaxed. On one council world, a junior analyst reviewed human data. They are increasing industrial output, she said. Her superior waved it away. They always do. Growth species. Let them work. Back on Earth, protests continued, but they remained calm. People gathered, shared recordings, and talked. They called us tools, an older woman said to a crowd. They think tools don't choose, a man replied. No riots followed. That worried some observers more than violence would have. In the president's office, Hannah Lee met with civilian leadership. The room was quiet. Outside, rain tapped against the glass. Are you asking for authorization? The president asked. No, Hannah said. I am informing you. A few officials shifted uneasily. We are not declaring war, Hannah continued. But we are accepting that peace, as defined by the council, does not include respect. One advisor spoke carefully. If this escalates, the cost will exist whether we prepare or not, Hannah said. The king drew a line. If we step back now, we will never step forward again. Silence followed. Finally, the president nodded. Proceed, he said, quietly. In orbit, the human flagship adjusted its position by a small amount. Barely noticeable, but from there, it could reach more relay points faster. Hannah watched the stars shift. Woo Park joined her. Do you believe it will come to open conflict? He asked. Hannah did not answer at once. I believe, she said slowly, that the council has forgotten something. What? That we were born on a dangerous world, Hannah said. We did not inherit safety. We built it. In the weeks that followed, small tests came. A human trade ship was delayed at a council checkpoint longer than necessary, Hannah. Approved rerouting protocols. A. Council patrol scanned a human mining station without. Notice Yuna logged it and traced the command. Chain, a minor council official suggested. New labor quotas for human colonies. Human diplomats responded politely and slowly, requesting clarification after clarification. Every action was measured. Every reaction was calm. Behind the calm, plans layered over plans. At a naval academy, young cadets studied history. Not just human history, but failures of older empires. They believed time made them right, an instructor said. It did not. At a medical center, Dr. Ji Sunam trained teams in emergency response for non-human biology. Why? A nurse asked. We barely have contact. Because when it happens, Jisoo said, it will matter who helps first. In the council chamber, King Erelon received updates. Human output is increasing, an advisor said. Quietly. They're always busy, the king replied. Busy species rarely rebel. Another advisor hesitated. Their protests are controlled, organized, and they are learning politics, the king said with mild amusement. Good for them. He waved the concern away. Far from the council, on the edge of mapped space, a human listening post detected unusual fleet movements. Old powers, shifting assets, testing routes. The report reached Hannah within minutes. She read it once, then she sent a short message. Continue phase quiet, she ordered. Accelerate internal readiness. On hundreds of ships, drills changed pace. On dozens of worlds, emergency systems were reviewed and improved. Still, no announcement. Wu Park watched a simulation end with a human ship isolated and damaged, yet still completing its objective. That would have failed before, he said. Yes, Dalim replied. Now it adapts. One evening, Hannah walked alone through a memorial hall beneath Earth's surface. Names were carved into the walls. Wars, disasters, plagues. She stopped before a section, marked only with years. We were never given respect, she said softly. We earned space, her wrist display chimed. Yuna's message was short. Council internal debate detected. Language shifting. Some fear human silence. Hannah allowed herself a small breath. Silence. She knew made people imagine. Things in imagination could be more powerful than anger, the galaxy still believed. Humanity was waiting for permission. Humanity was learning how to move without it. Space did not. Change when humanity prepared for war. Stars still burned. Trade lanes still glowed. Council fleets still moved with old confidence. To those watching from the outside, nothing seemed different. To those inside human command, everything was changing. General Hannah Lee stood in a narrow operations room aboard the flagship. The lights were low. Displays floated in the air, showing hundreds of small symbols. Each one was a ship, a station, or a world. No symbol sat alone anymore. Each was connected to many others, not in neat lines, but in layers. Admiral Taekwon pointed to the display. This breaks standard command structure, he said. There is no center. That is the point, Hannah replied. Captain Wu Park nodded slowly. If they strike the head, he said, there is none to cut. Yuna Choi stepped closer. Council analysts are confused, she said. Their models depend on hierarchy. We removed it. Hannah folded her hands behind her back. They taught us that, she said. We just listened. Cross-human space. Fleets trained without banners. Ships practiced moving without orders. Crews learned to decide, not wait. On one destroyer, a young officer hesitated during an exercise. Permission to fire? He asked. The senior officer shook her head. Decide, she said. The officer swallowed and gave the command. The simulation ended in success. He exhaled slowly, understanding something new. On a manufacturing world, civilian factories worked day and night. They produced engines, hull plates, and power systems. Officially, these were upgrades. Unofficially, they were foundations. Min So-han walked through the factory floor wearing plain clothes. She watched machines cut and shape metal with perfect calm. This alloy responds faster than predicted, an engineer said. Min Seo smiled faintly. It learns faster under stress, she replied. Just like us. She sent the update to Hannah. On a distant colony, a council patrol entered orbit without warning. Its commander transmitted a demand for inspection. The colony governor responded politely and complied. During the inspection, council scanners found nothing unusual. They left satisfied. What they did not see were the backups. Hidden in plain systems, ready to activate when needed. Yuna Choi reviewed the report. They're getting closer, she said. They always do before they step back, Anna replied. In the council chamber, King Arelon listened to advisors argue. Human silence is not normal, one said. They are not begging, they're sulking, another replied. They always sulk. The king tapped the arm of his throne. Let them, he said. Silence does not threaten order. He did not see the small hesitation among his closest allies. Some had started to watch human movements more closely on a medical transport ship. Dr. Jisunam treated injured miners from a non-human world. The ship had responded to a distress call before Council Aid arrived. Why help us? One survivor asked through a translator. Because you needed it. Jisu said simply. The story spread. On several news, but as neighbors, Hannah approved the mission reports without comment. Every action speaks, she said quietly. Training intensified. Commander Dalim increased difficulty without warning. Supplies were cut mid-simulation. Communications failed. Adapt, he told the crews. Or fail. Failures dropped. Confidence rose. At a relay station near the edge of Council space, Lieutenant Narration led a routine patrol. Her ship was small and fast. Its orders were simple. Observe. Do not provoke. Her sensors picked up an anomaly. A Council scout ship, damaged and drifting. Era frowned. Open channel, she ordered. The scout responded weakly. Systems failing. Crew injured. Era requested permission to assist. The answer came back quickly. Proceed. Human teams boarded the scout and stabilized it. They repaired life support and treated the wounded. The Council crew watched in confusion. You are not required to help us, their commander said. We are capable, Ara replied. The scout was escorted to safety. The report reached the Council. Some advisors questioned it. They are positioning for favor, one said. Others were not sure. On Earth? Public anger slowly shifted into something else. People trained. Communities organized emergency drills. Students studied history and strategy. No one told them to do this. They did it anyway. In the president's office, Hannah met again with civilian leaders. Are we still within council law? One asked. For now, Hannah replied. We have broken no rules, and if they change the rules... Hannah met his eyes. Then they will prove our point. Far from Earth, human ships moved through unclaimed space. They mapped paths others ignored. They practiced jumps that saved seconds, then minutes. Seconds mattered. Taekwon reviewed fleet readiness. They are better, he said. Not bigger, better. That is enough, Hannah said. She watched the stars again. Woo Park joined her, as he often did. Do you ever doubt this path? He asked. Hannah thought for a moment. No, she said. I doubt the galaxy. What do you mean? They believe strength is age, she said. We know strength is response. A warning alert appeared. Council fleet movements increased near human borders. Not an attack, a test. Yuna confirmed it. They want us to react. It won't, Hannah said. Not yet. Human fleets adjusted quietly, matching movements without matching aggression. The council noted it, so did the king. They mirror us, he said. Interesting. Should we push? An advisor asked. Not yet, the king replied. Let them tire themselves. But humans did not tire. They refined. At a forward base, Minseohan watched armor plates withstand reap. Aided fire, each strike changing the surface. It remembers. She said she sent the final data package. Hannah approved deployment. Night fell on Earth, in homes and stations. People slept knowing something was coming. Even if they did not know what, Hannah did not sleep. She reviewed reports until the room grew quiet. Then she sent one message. Phase quiet nearing completion, it read. Prepare for visibility. Cross human space. Systems acknowledged. The galaxy still thought humanity was hiding. In truth, humanity was learning how to stand where everyone could see it. The council chamber looked the same as always. Light curved across the high ceiling. Delegates floated or stood on their platforms. Screens showed trade numbers and border maps. To most of the galaxy, it was another routine session for humanity. It was the moment they stopped pretending. General Hannah Lee stood on the outer platform again. Her uniform was unchanged. No medals, no symbols of pride. Only rank and duty. The human delegation stood behind her, calm and silent. Across the chamber, King Arlan sat on his throne, speaking with advisors. He did not look at the humans when the session began. A dispute between two old empires filled the first hour. Then another issue. Then another. Finally, Hannah Lee raised her hand. A quiet ripple moved through the chamber. Human delegates almost never requested the floor. The presiding voice paused. "Human representative," it said. "State your request." "I request the right to speak," Hannah said. Some delegates exchanged looks. A few smiled. King Arlan turned his head slightly. "Very well," he said. "Let us hear the human view." Hannah stepped forward one pace. Her voice carried clearly, even without amplification. "Your Majesty," she said, "and members of the council." She did not bow. "We have listened," Hannah continued. "For many cycles we have listened. We accepted delay. We accepted dismissal. We accepted being spoken about as tools." A few delegates shifted uncomfortably. "At the last session," Hannah said, "humanity was told we may serve, obey, and never lead." She paused. "We reject that future." The chamber stirred. King Arlan leaned forward slightly. "You misunderstand," he said smoothly. "The council provides order. Humanity benefits from that order." Hannah met his gaze. "Order that denies dignity is not order," she said. "It is control." A low murmur spread. Hannah continued. "We are called young. That is true. We are called short-lived. It's also true. But in our short time, we survived our own destruction more than once. We did not inherit safety. We built it." Some delegates listened more closely now. "We learned quickly," Hannah said. "We learned cooperation. We learned restraint. We learned that power without purpose destroys itself." King Arlan raised a hand. "This is becoming dramatic," he said. "State your demand." Hannah shook her head. "We make no demand." The king frowned slightly. "We are informing the council," Hannah said, "that humanity withdraws from its authority." The chamber fell into sharp silence. "We will no longer accept rulings that place us beneath others by birth or age," Hannah continued. "We will no longer provide forces, labor, or resources to support a system that denies us voice." An advisor near the king stood. "This is rebellion," he said. "No," Hannah replied calmly. "This is separation." King Arlan rose from his throne. His presence filled the chamber. "You forget your position," he said coldly. "Humanity exists within council-protected space." "That protection has always been conditional," she said. "So is our participation." She took a breath. "If council forces attempt to enforce obedience," Hannah said, "humanity will respond." "How?" the king asked with resistance. Hannah said, "Open, organized, total." Gasps echoed. "You threaten war," the king said. "I declare it," Hannah replied. "Only against those who deny our right to stand equal." Silence followed, then laughter. It came from several platforms. Soft at first, then louder. "Humans declaring war," one delegate said. "On the council?" King Arlan smiled. "You overestimate yourselves," he said. "The council will remind you of your place." Hannah did not respond. She touched her wrist. Across human space, systems shifted. Fleet markers brightened. Civilian evacuation routes activated. Command authority unlocked. Hannah looked back at the chamber. "We have already left," she said. She turned and walked away. The human delegation followed. No guard stopped them at first. Minutes later, council alerts began to flash. Relay gates failed to respond. Supply fleets reported loss of coordination in the chamber. Advisors crowded around the king. "Human fleets are moving," one said. "They are blocking nothing," another said, "but they are everywhere." King Arlan's expression hardened. "Then strike," he ordered. "Show them consequence." The order moved through Council Command at the edge of human space. Council battle groups advanced. They expected resistance at the border. They found none. Human. Ships were gone. Then systems failed. Fuel depots went silent. Navigation relays went dark. Communications echoed with nothing but static. Council ships slowed. Uncertain, from empty space, human vessels appeared. Small groups. Perfect timing. They did not fire first. They cut engines. Disabled sensors. Took control of space without destroying it. On one Council cruiser, alarms rang as power failed. A calm human voice filled the bridge. "Remain still," it said. "We are assuming control." Across several sectors, the same thing happened. Lieutenant Narration led one such operation. Her boarding teams moved fast and clean. No unnecessary force. Inter-Council crew were treated immediately. "You said this would be a warning," one of her officers said. "It is," Era replied. "A clear one." News spread fast. Human ships were not attacking worlds. They were removing options. On neutral planets, people watched as Council forces retreated or surrendered without major battle. "They fight like this?" One alien observer asked. "They fight to end fights," another replied. "On Earth." Citizens watched the broadcasts in silence. No cheering, no celebration, only attention. In the flagship command room, Hannah Lee watched reports flow in. "Minimal casualties," Unichoi said. "Civilian harm avoided. Council command is fragmented," Taekwon added. "They cannot predict our movement," Hannah nodded. "Maintain discipline," she said. "No cruelty. No excess." Wu Park looked at her. "They will escalate," he said. "Yes," Hannah replied. "And when they do, the galaxy will be watching." In the council chamber, King Arelon stared at the screens in disbelief. "They were supposed to shout," he said. "They were supposed to burn." An advisor spoke quietly. "They are not fighting like subjects," he said. "They are fighting like equals." The king clenched his fist outside the chamber. Council authority cracked. Humanity had not screamed humanity. It stepped forward, and the galaxy had noticed. The council did not accept shock for long. Within hours of the first losses, orders spread from the inner worlds. Fleets that had guarded old borders for centuries were recalled and redirected. Shipyards shifted to full output. Propaganda channels activated, repeating the same message across hundreds of systems. Humanity was unstable. Humanity was dangerous. Humanity had to be stopped. King Arelon addressed the council through a full broadcast. His image filled every official channel. "The humans have broken galactic order," he said. "They have attacked council forces and disrupted lawful trade. This rebellion will end." Many delegates agreed. Some did not speak. At the edges of known space, council fleets began their advance. Unlike before, these groups did not hesitate. Weapons powered up. Command signals tightened. They expected resistance. They expected human fleets to defend territory again. They were wrong. Human space did not close. It opened. Council ships entered regions filled with traffic. Cargo vessels. Medical transports. Refugee convoys moving away from border worlds. Council commanders slowed their advance. "Human civilians are everywhere," one officer reported. "Proceed," came the reply. "They will move." They did not. Human civilian ships stayed on marked routes, calm and steady. Their broadcasts were clear: "Do not fire. We are evacuating." Council weapons crews hesitated. In that hesitation, human warships appeared, not in large formations, in precise ones. They cut through space like tools designed for one job. Engines flared briefly. Systems locked. Council targeting failed at the center of one engagement. Lieutenant Narration's ship moved close to a council destroyer twice its size. "Disable propulsion," Era ordered. Her weapons fired short bursts. No explosions. No hull breach. The destroyer drifted. Era opened a channel. "You are surrounded," she said. "Power down. Medical aid is ready." After a long pause, The council ship complied. Across multiple systems, the same pattern repeated. Humanity did not chase fleets. It trapped them in the flagship command room. Admiral Taekwon studied the maps. "They're trying to force us into a battle line," he said, "and we won't give them one." Hannah Lee replied. She watched new reports arrive. Council supply chains were failing. Fuel shipments vanished or arrived late. Repair docks found their systems locked by unknown commands. Who authorized this? A council logistics officer demanded. No answer came. Human cyber units did not broadcast their presence. They did not gloat. They adjusted numbers quietly. A shipment rerouted here, a delay added there. The council war machine slowed itself. Tan, a neutral world caught between roots, panic spread as fighting approached. Markets closed. People crowded shelters before council forces arrived. Human medical ships entered orbit. Dr. Jisoo Nam stepped onto the surface with her team. They set up aid stations in open spaces. "Why are you here?" a local official asked. "Because war is coming," Jisoo replied, "and we don't leave people behind." When council ships arrived, they found human doctors treating wounded civilians. Cameras recorded everything. The footage spread faster than council messages. "Humans protect others during war," one commentator said. "Why?" asked another. Back on Earth, people watched silently. Fear existed, but so did pride. "They're doing it our way," an old man said. In the council chamber, debate turned sharp. "They are winning support," one delegate warned. "They are stealing authority," said another. King Aralon slammed his hand against the throne. "They are manipulating sentiment," he said. "That will not save them." He issued a new order. Target human military assets directly. Ignore civilian optics. The first direct strike came near a human relay hub. Council ships fired without warning. Human defenses activated instantly. The hub survived. Damaged but standing, human fleets responded. This time weapons struck harder. Council ships lost shields. Hulls cracked. Crews suffered injuries. Human ships still avoided total destruction when possible. But the message was clear. Restraint had limits. On the flagship, Wu Park watched casualty reports. "They forced our hand," he said. "Yes," Hannah replied. "And now the galaxy sees who crossed the line." Neutral channels replayed. The strike again and again. Council fires first. One headline read, "Confidence in the old order began to shake." Some allied worlds delayed their support. Others quietly recalled forces. They did not expect this, Unichoi said. They expected fear. "They got choice," Hannah said. At a captured council command ship, human teams uncovered records, orders, suppressed reports, hidden casualty numbers. The information was released, not altered, not framed, just released. The galaxy reacted. Protests began on council worlds. Questions followed. Why are we dying for pride? One broadcast asked. Council authority cracked further. Still, the war did not stop. King Aralon ordered a final push. A massive fleet gathered near the core routes. "This will end it," he declared. Human sensors detected the movement hours before launch. Hannah Lee studied the data. They want a decisive battle. Taekwon said, "And we will give them one," Hannah replied. "On our terms." Human fleets shifted position. Evacuation routes expanded. Medical ships moved closer. This would not be a quiet lesson. This would be a demonstration. As the Epsel fleet advanced, the galaxy held its breath. For the first time in centuries, the old powers were no longer certain they were right, and humanity was no longer invisible. The war slowed, but it did not fade. After the Council's failed push, space grew tense and quiet. Fleets held position. Weapons stayed charged. Everyone waited for the next move. It did not come from the Council. It came from the people, on worlds far from Earth. Broadcasts replayed the same images. Human ships escorting civilians. Human doctors treating wounded aliens. Human commanders allowing surrender instead of destruction. The question spread across systems. Why? On a shattered station near a trade route, Dr. Nam moved through smoke and broken metal. The station had been damaged during a council retreat. Life support was failing. Her team worked without pause. "Stabilize here," she said. "Move the children first." A non-human elder watched her closely. "You gain nothing from this," he said. Jisoo met his eyes. "We gain tomorrow," she replied. The station survived. The story spread on a neutral planet. Crowds gathered around screens as human engineers helped restore power after a council supply failure. "They could have left us," one resident said. They did not. Council channels tried to counter the stories. They spoke of manipulation, of weakness hidden behind kindness. But the images did not stop. In the flagship command room, Annalie watched reports from dozens of systems. "Support is shifting," Unichoi said. "Not officially, but quietly." "Quiet is enough," Hannah replied. Admiral Taekwon folded his arms. "Some council allies are refusing orders," he said. "They say the war is unjust." Hannah nodded. "They are remembering why councils exist," she said, at a forward medical hub. Human and non-human doctors worked side by side. Different hands, different biology, same purpose. Jisunam trained volunteers without caring where they came from. "Pain is universal," she said. "So is relief." On Earth, schools changed lessons. Children studied ethics, along with strategy. "How you win matters," a teacher said. In council space, protests grew. Workers refused to load weapons. Families demanded answers. "Why are we fighting those who protect us?" a broadcast asked. King Erelon watched the unrest with anger. "They are turning opinion against us," he said. "They are not forcing it," an advisor replied carefully. "They are allowing choice." "Then remove the choice," the king snapped. New orders went out. Suppress dissent. Silence. Neutral media. The effect was immediate and disastrous. Footage of council forces arresting civilians spread within hours. Human channels rebroadcast it without comment, without edits. The galaxy reacted. Several council worlds declared neutrality. A few withdrew. "Entirely, we will not fight this war there." Leaders said human fleets did not move to occupy them. They respected the decision. "That is new," one alien analyst said. "Power that does not grab." At the edge of the core routes, a council task force attempted a surprise strike on a human aid convoy. Human escorts responded instantly this time. The exchange was brief and sharp. The council ships were disabled. Human crews boarded and secured them. One captured officer looked at his human guard. "Why spare us?" he asked. The guard answered simply, "Because you stopped." The officer had no reply. Hannah Lee addressed human commanders through a secure channel. "Do not let anger decide," she said. "This war will end. How it ends will shape everything after."
Ow.
They understood across the galaxy. Human discipline became a symbol, not of fear, of trust. On a once hostile world, a local council requested human mediation between rival factions. They trusted humans to be fair. Hannah approved the request. "Send civilians," she said, "not soldiers." The conflict ended without bloodshed. The story traveled. King Erelon stood alone in the council chamber more often now. Empty platforms surrounded him. "They are abandoning us," he said. "They are choosing stability," an advisor replied. "Not dominance." The king's voice hardened. "Stability is obedience." "Not anymore," the advisor said quietly. The king dismissed him in a captured data vault. Human analysts uncovered long-hidden records. Forced labor quotas. Silence protests. The entire world suppressed. Hannah reviewed the files. "Release them," she said. "They will destabilize the council," Una warned. "Yes," Hannah replied. "That is the truth doing its work." The files went public. The effect was Immediate council legitimacy collapsed. Delegates demanded reform. Some demanded the king's step down. He refused. "This council is mine," he declared it. Was the first time many heard him say it aloud. Human. Fleets remained in position. They did not advance. They waited at a memorial site on Earth. Hannah stood alone again. "We did not win yet," she said softly. "But we showed them who we are." A message arrived. Several council members requested negotiation, not with the king, with humanity. Hannah closed her eyes briefly. "This is the turning point," Taekwon said. "Yes," Hannah replied. "Now the war becomes a choice." The galaxy watched as talks began without the old throne. King Erelon watched from isolation, for the first time in centuries. His voice no longer defined order. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. It had changed it, and the final answer was close.